It is my pleasure to invite Senior Class President Natalie Scott to deliver the welcoming address.
Teachers, faculty members, families, Mr. Wargo, random town members, and most importantly, the class of 2018. Good evening, and welcome to my mom's 50th birthday party. Okay, so this isn't actually her birthday party, but it is really her birthday. So, if you see her, tell her happy birthday. But don't let her know I told you how old she is, because I definitely wasn't supposed to do that. As president, I do need to confess a few things. First, those highlighter t-shirts from the 8th grade boat trip, well, those may or may not have been my fault, so sorry about that. Also, Akon, there was a brief moment when I may have lost your senior week check, but don't worry, some very confused student found it in the girls' bathroom. I also need to apologize to Jimmy Mack for not bringing you back to Six Flags. But I do blame that one on the class above us, and I'm glad you decided to stop your attempt to impeach me. Finally, I need to admit that I loved being class president a little bit too much. So, thank you to everyone who let the control freak in me rule from time to time. Especially all of our officers over the years, as well as our advisors, Mr. Pumphrey and Mrs. Blake. There are so many warriors in our class and in our town. I know I don't know all your stories, and I truly wish I did, but I would like to briefly mention two. Callie Hirschfield is not only my amazing VP and great friend, but has, to use her own words, kicked cancer's ass twice. And Parker Sullivan, or Super PJ, as I like to call him, is the bravest 5-year-old I know. These two have been such an inspiration. While on the topic of superheroes, Sky High, while it does defy gravity, is nothing compared to SHS. Sure, we aren't perfect. Our art wing tables were taken over by juniors. Miss H is practically Swiper when it comes to bringing coffee into the library. And by the end of the year, our high tops became low tops. Despite this, we do have Riptide concerts every Friday morning, a principal that will showcase his horrible singing voice just to put a smile on our faces. And we also have some of the greatest teachers in the world. My little sister always thought it was weird that I had what she liked to call teacher friends. But then, when she came up to the high school this year, she befriended teachers too. In sheer panic over not having yet finished this speech, I found myself half asleep on Minot Beach yesterday morning around 5 a.m. The ocean reminded me of my weird sea turtle obsession that started in kindergarten. My email used to be turtlegirl4@comcast.net, and my first Instagram username may or may not have been Turtle Swims. In 3rd grade, I was even convinced I was going to change my name to Turtle Tortoise Scott the minute I turned 18. And Marley Schwartz will never let me forget that. These memories inspired my attempt to try to be metaphorical. We all know the story of the tortoise and the hare, and its cliché message. Slow and steady wins the race. But if I put on my look at the bigger picture lens that SHS has prescribed me, I see another message. In the end, both the tortoise and the hare cross the finish line. Both are successful. If our race was high school, the first day of freshman year would be the starting line, and graduation would be the finish. Everyone sitting to my right took a different path to get here, whether it be that of the tortoise, the hare, or some other animal in the middle. Nevertheless, the end of the race is here. We all made it, and that is what matters. I, like a lot of us, didn't have the smoothest road to the finish line. Entering high school, it was my plan to keep the hare's pace the entire time. My perfectionist self was not about to take a nap because the things like my GPA and track times, the only things I thought were a measure of my success, would not wait for me. Then I became very, very good at hitting my head, which resulted in many, many school absences. While this hare-like nap often seemed endless at times and was sometimes unbearable, today I can see that this was an essential piece of becoming the Natalie Scott I am today. And there is no other path I would have wished to take. I used to see success as being black and white, but I'm leaving certain that success has a gray area that is infinitely large. And according to Mr. Parkins, you can, in fact, find the area of that, but I still don't really understand how. All 220 of us make up a part of that area. Thomas O'Brien, for example, can identify over 1,000 birds. Nicholas Caputo can answer any question you have about Thomas the Train. Breland Craze, in 10th grade, she won the state bowling championship. As we learned at the senior showcase, Matt Davidson can land a round-off back layout and make it look super easy. And who knew Elena Roman could sing? Zach Abisad can make beautiful glass-blown art. And Leanne Morse, that girl is just the sweetest person you'll ever meet. If I had another 20 minutes, I would shout out each of you, because you are all individually successful. As we can see, everyone used different skills and techniques along their way to the finish line. One other point that I would like to make is that reaching the finish line, being successful, none of that matters if you aren't happy. So please, remember, your finish line is your finish line, and no one else's. So find the things you love to do, and do them. 355 days ago, I stood in front of our class and stated how our senior elections were the first of our many lasts to come. Here, today, right now, this is our last. Some of us wish we could avoid entering the real world by gluing ourselves to our homeroom desks. Or maybe that's just me. While others of us have been counting down the days until they no longer have to ask to use the bathroom and can just start the next chapter of their lives. Oops. I promised my sisters I wouldn't say the word chapter or I'd have to pay them $10. So you're welcome, guys. I'll pay you later. Regardless of your feelings on high school being over, this race has come to an end, and another one is just beginning. I can't wait to see where the finish line is for all of you. But just remember, it's not about finishing first. The beauty lies in deciding for yourself how to get there and enjoying it along the way. Molly Bonner, just know I'll be calling you when my future daughter is old enough for dance lessons. Sean Francis, I'm not sure for what, but in 5 years, I fully expect you to be famous. And Galen Murphy, I hope to see your pictures in magazines one day, if magazines even still exist then. I just want to close by saying thank you to the class of 2018. Thank you to each and every one of you for making my high school experience so memorable. And I really mean it when I say I will miss you all, and I love you all. So, one last time, thank you for everything, SHS. It's been real. Go Sail Dogs.
Please welcome to the podium valedictorian for the class of 2018, Kara Murray.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I would like to start today by sincerely thanking every adult who has helped this class get here. It has been a very long journey, but parents, guardians, relatives, teachers, friends, all helped my classmates and me make it through high school to celebrate today. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. I would also like to thank the unrecognized heroes of this evening, the SHS Symphonic Band. I remember the pain of playing Pomp and Romp for what seems like an eternity. And while it does do wonders for your jaw muscles, playing the same song for over 200 people is actually not very fun. So thank you guys. Funny enough, I don't think the band directors are too sad to see me go. My best friend and I truly gave them a run for their money. Our other esteemed speakers this evening, Natalie and Casey, asked that I do not talk about finding happiness in my speech, since that was already a recurring theme in theirs. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to make everyone miserable. But that shouldn't be too hard. A debate judge once called me incredibly hostile. So don't worry, I'm very good at this. Mrs. Hall also told me I spoke way too fast when presenting, so I might be able to speed through this in under a minute if I try. What I am talking about today is actually really similar to my final project for English this year. Unfortunately, Ms. Sullivan said I missed the point of the assignment, and my grade wasn't too great. But honestly, I probably missed the point of every book I've ever read for an English class, so it was fair criticism. Hopefully, this is better received by you all. Every year, I go to an awesome program called the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, also known as RYLA. If you recognize that name, you've probably heard, "What's RYLA?" yelled down the hallway by my delinquent friends. It's a great program that I have been involved with since sophomore year, and every year it challenges me with this thing called the 3 Words Project. The premise is simple. Think of 3 words that you live by or value, and write them on a whiteboard and take a cute photo. Yet, it is often profound because everyone's 3 words are always personal and thoughtful, so I thought I would share mine. I do realize it's a little selfish to be essentially quoting and then praising myself, but I only had a few days to write this, and I am not creative, so please be patient.
My first 3 words in 2016 were, everyone is inspiring. You probably have met someone in your life that you don't like. Actually, there's probably someone sitting near you who you don't love. But everyone has a truly motivating story. It's so hard to tell what is happening beneath the surface in someone's life, so being respectful and tolerant of our differences is really important. People all have their strengths and weaknesses, but everyone brings something to the table, and we should do our best to acknowledge that even if we're not close with someone. Your peers can often be truly inspirational with the obstacles they have overcome. I'm really inspired by everyone here today. We are all going off to do amazing things in life. Getting a high school diploma is tragically not at all like High School Musical, and it took a lot of determination, especially for people who had serious personal struggles. It's so wonderful to see everyone here today who defied those obstacles to get their diploma. Last year, you can probably tell this is from junior year, my 3 words were always work hard. Putting effort into everything you do will ensure that you reap the benefits later. It doesn't have to be just school or a job that you work hard at. Put your best effort into making yourself and others happy and healthy. Getting a diploma is expected of teenagers nowadays, and adults tend to think it's fairly straightforward. Well, anyone sitting here today can tell you that that is completely false. Everyone here put in long nights of homework and studying, completed other extracurriculars, or worked at a job or volunteered. It was not glamorous a lot of the times, but it was certainly worth it. I think we can all agree the hard work did pay off, and I hope everyone here continues to drive themselves to do the amazing things you're all capable of. I know that's very cliche, but it is really accurate that we have a talented group of young adults here, and we can do anything with the motivation to succeed, except maybe find danger poison. And just a few weeks ago, I chose the 3 words, bold is gold. Expressing yourself freely and living exactly as you want to is difficult sometimes, but really important to do. We can all have a unique identity and simultaneously celebrate our differences. Living on other people's terms is also really boring, and it's difficult to dream big if you don't live exactly as you want to. So don't listen to the negativity of others, unless, of course, it's Miss Willinger explaining why everything about your campaign project was terrible. She said I could say that. The point is, live life to the absolute fullest. If you have something to say, speak up. If you want to do something, do it. And if you want to be happy, do things that make you happy. Living boldly means you be the change and you step up to be a leader if you must. Finally, I do have a very serious plea for all of us soon-to-be graduates. In junior year English, we learned that every speech should end with a call to action, so I hope you all really listen to mine. Everyone needs to register to vote. As a country, we have so many huge decisions to make in the next few elections on a myriad of issues. Immigration, foreign policy, gun control, states' rights, minority rights, and I could go on forever, honestly. As graduates, we are no longer the next generation. We are the generation that will mobilize and vote for representatives who will voice our beliefs regardless of political party. As a citizen of Scituate, a citizen of Massachusetts, and a citizen of the United States, it is our right and our duty to get involved and let our representatives know what we think. It's even possible to participate in government on other levels. Sure, town meetings sometimes feel like an episode of Parks and Recreation and make you want to claw your hair out in frustration, but at least people are getting out there to speak their mind. In Massachusetts, you can register to vote at 16 and a half with an ID, and at 18 you have the right to start voting. So no more excuses. Stop procrastinating and start voting. Oh, thanks. I am truly humbled to have the opportunity to speak on behalf of the class of 2018 today. We have always received compliments for how incredibly compassionate, talented, and motivated we are, so it's a true honor to represent this unique class today. Going forward, we will all be headed in different directions, but we will always share the awkward yet unforgettable memories of Scituate High. Weird ones like crickets living in the walls and having at least 15 gas leaks, to annoying ones like the never-ending construction that surrounded us for half of our high school career, to great ones like concerts, field trips, getting into college, and today. After tonight, I hope everyone, as new adults, pursues their passions, lives their dreams, and maybe gets out of their comfort zones. I am a proud graduate of the Scituate Public Schools, and I hope you all are as well. Thank you very much, and best of luck to everyone with their future endeavors.
I now call upon Class of 2018 Salutatorian Casey Boynton.
This shot is giving me hell. All right. I'm gonna throw it on. All right. I'm going to preface this speech with 3 things. 1, I have the most monotone voice maybe ever. It's so bad. My own teacher said I would have won our Gov mock election if I didn't talk like a corpse. But I'm going to try to inflect as much as I can, so stick with me. 2, between the 3 of us speakers tonight, you're probably going to get a lot of advice thrown at you. My greatest piece of advice to any kids yet to graduate out there actually has nothing to do with the bulk of the speech. If you are at all artistically challenged, do not be afraid to solicit help in decorating your grad cap. Otherwise, you may end up with an acid wash look and a 3-hour emotional meltdown. 3, I owe a huge thank you to my teachers over the past 4 years, my friends, my guidance counselor, Mrs. Moore, and above all, my parents. I am so proud of the strength and sincerity that my mom and dad have exemplified through the best and worst times of our lives, and I can only hope that one day I will be able to follow in their footsteps. Don't think that this gives you guys an excuse to cry, though, or I'll give you that iconic Casey Boynton side-eye. In psychology class this year, we learned about psychologist Abraham Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. I believe that as we age, we work our way up this hierarchy of needs. We need food and water, sure, then shelter and security, but finally, a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging. As 1-year-olds, none of us were concerned with heartbreak, fitting in, the Common App, addiction, love, depression, stress, pride, friendship, or anything else in between that has taken us to our highest highs and our lowest lows. I think that these emotional, social, and spiritual components that have come to form our identity during our time in the school are placed higher on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, not just because they are harder to achieve, but harder to embrace. To put this into a Scituate context, why talk about feelings when there's coffee corner? Why self-reflect when we can sleep in the sand all day at Minot, Egypt, or Peggotty Beach? As overwhelmed and often reckless 17 and 18-year-olds, talking about emotions is scary. I truly think that at this point, we are experiencing some of the deepest emotions we'll ever feel in our whole lives. The best advice I can give is to treat emotion like food or water. Make it a daily necessity to feel something so profound and personal and rich and real that you can only learn from it, because emotion will only ever be higher on that spectrum if we let it. It's not easy, and it can't be done alone. Reflecting on my own high school experiences and the experiences of others, we often isolate ourselves as a means of dodging those raw, powerful feelings waiting to be tapped into. We have different methods of isolation. Mine was academia. June of senior year me now understands that books aren't people, and a whole beautiful world exists beyond the desk that occupies the corner of my bedroom. And as earth-shattering as this may be for many, I repeat, no amount of books, minutes on the treadmill, Netflix episodes, pizzas, jewel rips, dollar bills, Fortnite victory royales, naps, Instagram likes, beaches, trophies, clubs, insert outlying stress relievers here, will ever come to replace the importance of human interaction and human emotion. All of those other things simply form the background. If you told me that for every book I could unread, for every extra credit assignment I could undo, for every extra shift I could untake, for every extra mile I could unrun, I could earn the opportunity to feel something, I suddenly find my high school experience looking very different than how it turned out. But, strangely enough, I think I would take that person up on their bargain in a heartbeat. As I already stated, we bury our emotions in endless stress-relieving activities. I believe that society, too, likes to see our emotions buried. Every year, I feel more and more that making memories and feeling emotions is put on the back burner as new metrics of fulfillment are brought forth. Arguably, I've played into this system harder than anyone else. GPA, SAT scores, class rank, tournament titles, the name on your graduation cap. All of these things are metrics that we have generated and subscribed to as we grow up. At the end of the day, no college or employer wanted you because you scored a 1600 on your SAT or because you were a 3-season athlete. They wanted you for who you were as a person. And when I look back on June 1st, 2018, I won't remember what each of you was ranked in the class, what grade you got on that test, or what place you came in that cross-country meet, although as a hint to future me, they probably finished in front of you. I'll remember how funny but proud we all looked doing that class dance. I'll remember the euphoria of the ball drop on New Year's Eve. I'll remember dancing so hard at prom that I ripped a huge hole in my pants. I'll remember picking my friends up in the middle of a snowstorm, blasting Pitbull, and drifting so far into a snowbank that I couldn't see out my window. And while it saddens me that I couldn't do more of these things in high school, besides the snowbank thing probably, it serves as a new credo for me and should serve as a new one for each of us in our class too. I challenge you to stop measuring the success of your life based off of accolades, ranks, and grades, and start measuring it based on the amount of memories you can extract out of each and every last day you have left on Earth. I know that this may be ironic coming from someone who chose academics over friends at almost every turn up until this past year. I can't redo high school, but I can learn from it. And I've learned that we are all going to be fine so long as we are honest with ourselves. So for future reference, 1, go to the concert even if you have classes the next day. 2, stay up late if it's for a good cause. 3, eat good food and good company. 4, fall in love even if it crashes and burns. 5, go with your gut. 6, spend time with people you care about, but also be open to new people and new ideas. 7, seek adventures beyond our basements and living rooms, even beyond our sleepy little town. 8, don't feel the need to make a perfect, concrete plan for every social endeavor, because sometimes doing nothing is doing everything. 9, to cover any other base that I may have missed, do anything so long as it feels right, because life is too short to suppress our desires. Having said all of this, study hard, work hard, and be the best you can be. But when you're done, be done. And most importantly, don't worry that it wasn't enough. Turn to your friends and family, the ones sitting with you today, the ones looking out at you from the bleachers, and the ones who couldn't make it here, and simply talk. Talk without worrying that it isn't productive or significant or sensical. I guarantee that when you talk to someone about something, you're one step closer to reaching the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and that's what matters most. Thank you.
So at this time, we'll hear from the Scituate High School Chorus.
Senior Select Choir.
This becomes my chance to speak to you, but more importantly, to speak to the class of 2018. Dear class of 2018, you have been the class that put others above yourself. It became evident in the fall of this year with your efforts to help hurricane victims in Texas, and the Caribbean. It continued as you took on the daunting task of addressing school spirit. The result, the first ever Scituate High School lip dub. You are advocates for human rights through your work with Amnesty International. You led the charge to solicit participation in the National Day of Silence. You demonstrated your support and frustration by staging a walkout in response to another senseless school shooting. You organized a senior ship-shape day, which saw countless seniors cleaning the school grounds in preparation for today's ceremony. You are the force that sustains school programming such as Allies Not Bystanders and Real Conversations. You raise funds to aid countless humanitarian projects. You build gardens of vegetables and gardens of hope. You are a voice at the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education Board meetings. You are the Jake and Andy show, sharing topical stories that put a smile on everyone's face. You are mentors, buddies, leaders, learners, and in my opinion, most importantly, kind, compassionate, and this is what I do when I sing too, so get used to this. Kind, compassionate, and downright awesome. I love you, the class of 2018. So that's it from me. Please welcome to the podium, and I'm sure he will not tear up, Superintendent Ron Griffin to address the class of 2018.
Well, good evening and welcome, everybody. On behalf of our school committee and our entire faculty and staff, I'd like to welcome you to the commencement ceremonies for the graduating class of 2018. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to thank a few important people. Many of our graduates have been in the Scituate Public Schools since kindergarten, some since preschool. And over that time, they've been supported on average by about 50 different adults. Since kindergarten through to graduation, our teachers and staff have been educating you to read and write, to do calculus, Shakespeare. They've been helping you get to school on time. When you get there, making sure that your school is safe and clean and giving you a good meal to eat. So I would ask that if you are a Scituate Public Schools employee, not just our teachers, but any employee who has helped this incredible class get to where they are, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. And to our graduates, I have one more group that I'd ask for your help in recognizing this evening. Even before you were in school, your parents and family have been guiding and supporting you. And while you're graduating this evening, I know that there are a lot of moms and dads and grandparents who remember that first step and who remember that first day of kindergarten like it was yesterday. For the past 18 years, they've been working hard to give you opportunities, support, and love. Sometimes tough love when you need tough love, but love nonetheless. And ultimately, they've helped you become the incredible young adults that you are today. So graduates, please take a moment to recognize your parents and your family. Graduation is this moment when you're standing on the precipice of endless possibilities. And tonight I'd like to share with you a brief story of one high school student who helped take a single possibility from just an idea to a reality, and ultimately has helped change the trajectory of our world. I hope that you find it inspiring, and I hope that you take advantage of the incredible opportunities in front of you. You see, you're joining a generation connected to the over 7 billion other people on this planet in a way that no one has ever seen before in our history. And this is a generation for which success is more than just money or fame. It's a generation for which success is measured by the good that you do and the way in which you improve the world that we all live in. My story actually begins in Greece in 2010 with a young sophomore in high school. His name is Boyan Slat. Boyan lived in a community actually very similar to Scituate on the ocean. It was a big part of the experience that his entire community felt. And the summer between his sophomore and his junior year, he went out and did his first scuba dive, and he was amazed, in awe of the beauty, fish and coral, sea turtles, which were amazing, but he was also taken aback at how much trash and plastic there was. And that image stuck with him when he returned to school in the fall. And in fact, that fall in his science class, his teacher asked the entire class to pick a problem, any problem, and do a semester-long research project to solve it. And before the teacher had even finished the directions, Boyan knew. He wanted to clean up the oceans. He didn't know how, but he was passionate about it. So he took out his phone. He actually began researching that day on the phone, and in just a few minutes, he had pulled up decades of research at his fingertips. And what he found astounded him. All in told, he found there's about 300 million tons of plastic on Earth in the oceans, and much of it ends up in these circular currents in each of the major oceans on the planet. They form these floating patches. The largest actually ended up with a name. It's called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's twice the size of Texas, and it goes from California to Hawaii, and he was blown away by this. And finally, he realized that if the accumulation continues as it is by 2050, there'd be more garbage mass than there would be aquatic life, more garbage than fish. And it was at that moment that Boyan, just a junior in high school, decided the world cannot wait, and that someone needs to do something, and why can't it be him? So he began his research by talking with local experts. But that quickly changed to Skyping experts around the world. Skyping in with marine biologists in Japan, talking with engineers in Australia, and materials scientists in the US. And he started connecting experts from around the world. This kid in Greece started bringing together expertise from all corners of the planet. He started asking the questions, what would it take? How can we do this? And the answers he received were ranging. First, we don't have the technology. It doesn't exist to do this scale of cleanup. Where would the money come from? What country would take care of this? Who would lead it? And above all else, cleaning up that patch would take generations. But Boyan was undeterred. He thought if it was going to take generations to solve, why can't it start with him? Why can't it start with his generation? At the end of his junior year, Boyan had compiled everything he had learned and come up with a plan. It was a novel idea to solve a potentially global challenge. You see, most of the experts he had talked with were thinking through a global lens, through a conventional lens, They were using technology that already exists. They were using resources they already had available. But Boyan was thinking outside the box. And he thought, instead of going out with your traditional ships and nets and trying to capture all of this, he thought, what if we could use those currents to bring that plastic to us? So his idea was to build this massive floating barrier. Think like ocean-sized pool noodles. It's never been done before. And he was going to string them together and at the middle put an oil rig, essentially, that would collect all this plastic. His idea was to orient them so that all of those currents would push the plastic right into the collection bins. He shared that with his class and his teacher, and his teacher loved the research, but ultimately ended up getting a C on it because she said it was unrealistic. Undeterred, Boyan went on to undergrad as an engineer. all still while thinking about this challenge in his mind. He shared his idea with his classmates, with his professors, started getting their input and tweaking it as he got new information. One of the most important takeaways he had from his freshman year in college was that the more people that contribute to ideas, the better the idea becomes. So he took what he had so far, and he actually participated in a teen TED Talk right on his campus. He uploaded the video to YouTube. You can still stream it. It's about 30 minutes long, and it's just this college freshman with a single idea on how to change the world. After just a few days, it got millions of views. And one of the most common comments that it received was, "Wow, this is a great idea. How can I help?" After a few months, Boyan found a way to let people help. He set up a crowdfunding page. The funds were going to be used to develop a prototype of his idea. He linked the YouTube presentation to the crowdfunding page to his social media, and in just a few weeks, he had $90,000 of donations that had come in from around the world. He realized this isn't just a challenge for Greece or for America. This is a global challenge, and it requires a global solution, and he might actually be the guy to lead it. So in 2013, he founded an international nonprofit called the Ocean Cleanup. Its official mission is to cut the size of that Great Pacific garbage patch in half in just 5 years. And the launch of his organization attracted volunteers from around the world. The very next year, Boyan and about 100 volunteers from around the globe embarked on a study to put his idea to the test in the oceans. Come to find out, not only did it work, but the team was so encouraged by the results, they felt ready to scale it up and to give this idea a try and make their mission a reality. They launched a second crowdfunding effort using social media and YouTube to get the word out and share their findings. The effort attracted over $2 million from individuals and organizations from 160 countries. It was the most successful crowdfunding effort ever. Today, Boyan is just 23. He's the CEO of an international nonprofit focused on cleaning up the Earth's oceans. He and his team to date have raised over $30 million. Just last month, the Ocean Cleanup launched the first stage of that cleanup system. It was off the coast of San Francisco. It is using technology that didn't exist 5 years ago, spending worldwide resources contributed from hundreds of countries, and applying a concept that began with a high school kid who had a good idea and a cell phone. When Boyan was asked by a reporter if he was deterred by the critics who said, "This can't happen," he replied, quote, "Human history is a list of things that couldn't happen, and then they did." In fact, in the history of mankind, there is no generation that has had such an incredible ability to connect with nearly every person on this planet. No generation has had the capability to harness ideas and resources from every corner of the map in just a few keystrokes. This generation, today, and the world's next revolutionary idea, it can come from anywhere, from any person, from a junior in Greece or a graduate in Scituate, Massachusetts. You are the first generation of true global citizens. And while you may live in a single country, you are part of the first generation truly connected to the other 7 billion of us on this planet. You are joining a generation undeterred by convention and unintimidated by the scale of any challenge. There are no longer boundaries. If you want to do good, do good. If you want to change the world, change it. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, young or old, if you have a PhD, or if you're just graduating high school. As you receive your diplomas today and begin thinking about these endless possibilities and the power that you have at your fingertips, I'll leave you with some advice that I hope may guide you in some small way. It's in the form of a poem by Mac Anderson. It's my favorite poem. I think it's apropos for the moment in graduation, and I think it connects well to the story of Boy on Slat. It's called The Essence of Today, and I'd like to close by sharing it with you. This is the beginning of a new day. You've been given this day to use as you will. What you do with today is important because you're exchanging a day of your life for it. Waste it or use it well, but when tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving in its place something that you have traded for it. So let it be something good. Graduates of Scituate High School, I hope the story of Boy on Slat empowers you to take advantage of the limitless opportunities available to you and inspires you to make the world just a little bit better than how you found it. I wish you all the very best. Congratulations.
Kara Patricia Murray. Casey James Boynton. Natalie Claire Scott. Callie Marie Hirschfield. Elena Nicole Roman. Hannah Grace Sullivan. Corey Elizabeth Kelleher. Morgan Nicole McCluskey. Caroline Shannon Quinn. Zachary Habib Abisad. Yota Adachi. Octavia Marie Alvarez. Nicole Karen Anacleto. Kaylin Susan Anderson. Robin Ashley Angland. Elise Marie Antonino. Thomas Paul Antos. Aiden Noel Arnold. Athena Maris Avalone. Elizabeth Lily Bailey. Benjamin Cole Barnhart. Jacob Paul Barrett. Maxwell Doyle Bates. Lily Elizabeth Belson. Erin Catherine Berg. John Michael Bernier. Emmeline Francesca Berry. Brett Thomas Billieu. Andrew Gillis Blanchard. Emily Ann Blanchard. Molly Catherine Bonner. Matthew Joseph Bray. John Thomas Bridgman. Gregory Thomas Broderick. Devin Thomas Brown. Peyton Curtis Brown. Caitlin Rose Burke. John Patrick Burke. Liam David Burns. Kevin Paul Callahan. Siobhan Beverly Callahan. Nicholas Alexi Caputo. McKenna Francis Carroll. Noelle Marie Casali. Rachel Rankin Castanetti. Colton Lawrence Cavanaugh. Abigail Lee Chipman. Annabelle Sophia Christensen. Christopher Michael Clancy. Olivia Nicole Clark. Olivia Marie Coleman. Mackenzie Rose Collins. Shane Matthew Camus. Andrew James Conley. Andrew James Conley. Ryan Walter Connor. Alexandra Mary Conroy. Victoria Marie Cordero. Catherine Joanne Courtney. Breland Grace Craze. Julian Aubrey Cromwell. Peyton Randall Crosby. Sean Robert Daphne. Matthew Robert Davidson. Alex Joseph DeFreitas. Isabella Marie DeSmet. Nicholas Glenn Diaz. Francesca Marie DiNatale. Matthew Thomas DePisa. Julie Ann DeSalvio. Michaela Elizabeth Deeney. Andrea Elizabeth Doherty. Shay Pan Doherty. Joshua Patrick Don. Madeline Haley Donahue. Jackson Joseph Dooley. Sylvia Lorraine Downing. Dara Ryan Dupre. Jason Jeffrey Dwight. Christian Mark Eckelhofer. Alexa Ann Evanson. Mark Alexander Falve. Mia Lee Farwell. Sophia Lynn Ferreira. Maria Christina Filardi. Carson Taylor Fiscus. Matthew Christopher Fishman. Mia Murray Flanagan. Grace Francis Foley. Andrew Warren Ford. John Ryan Forsyth. Erin Noel Francis. Sean David Francis. Jack Kelly Fulton. Megan Catherine Galvin. Cameron Law G. Andrew Gilmartin. Elena Janice Goldthwaite. Kimberly Elizabeth Grimes. Ron Rain Grise. Ryan Joseph Harrigan. Miles Fernell Harris. Sydney Marcelino Harris. Michelle Bradley Hassenfuss. Riley Gordon Hay. Robert Eugene Hebert. Catherine Rose Hennigan. Lauren Elizabeth Hennessy. Christopher Henry. Bailey Alexandra Henshin. Chloe Louise Henshin. Thomas Andrew Higgins. Abigail Francis Hilditch. John Powers Hill. Lauren Michelle Hodges. Gillian Mullen Haran.
Ava Catherine Huggins. Connor Patrick Hughes. Gregory Francis Hunnefeld. Carrie Ann Hurley. Marie Catherine James. Abby Elizabeth Johnston. John Michael Jordan, Jr. Leah Rose Kelly. Connor Patrick Knapp. Kelly Dawn Leary. Adam Michael Leondike. Kevin Joseph Long. Abel Anthony Lopes, Jr. Erin Costello Lumna. Hannah Catherine Lyden. Christine Mary McCune. James Tyler MacDonald. Brooke Charlotte Mesher. Julia Elaine McGuire. Aiden Thomas Maloof. Nicole Reese Marcella. Amy Elizabeth Schmitz Martin. Lucy Miller Mazare. Megan Rose McConaughey. Corinne Leah McCroskey. Charles Stephen McDonald. James Francis McDonough. Olivia Miller McNamara. Jessica Lynn Merritt. Caitlin Elizabeth Milligan. Elizabeth Ingraham Monger. Lauren Cecilia Montgomery. Alexander Charles Moon. Alexis Catherine Moore. Nathan Wesley Moore. Caliandra Grace Mose. Chloe Amanda Morrill. Mary Catherine Morris. Leanne Winifred Morse. Jack Harrison Moskowitz. Alec Stewart Mulkern. Kimmy Joanne Mulkern. Galen Luna Murphy. Luke Bartley Murphy. David James Murray. Sarah Elizabeth Nisbet. Emily Anna Norton. Catherine Grace Norton. Liam Thomas Norton. Savannah Rose O'Brien. Thomas Edward O'Brien. Anna Elizabeth O'Connell. Lincoln Alexander Oram. Madison Marie Parker. Alicia Nahir Padini. Liam Paul Peterson. Sebastian Patrick Pizzuto. Ryan Howard Quattlebaum. Louis James Quattrucci III. Alexander Haley Rao.
Hey guys, do a straight line, okay? Straight line.
Danielle Marie Ray. Nadine Ingrid Reedy. Jillian Margaret Esther Robinson. Olivia Katarina Robinson. Zadia Maria Rodriguez. Skylar O'Neill Rojic. Paul Michael Rossi Orman. Madison Quinn Rowe. Julianne Patricia Ryan. Parker John Ryan. Kira Joan Schlosser. Marley Grace Schwartz. Abigail Elizabeth Sheehan. Aliana Michelle Sheehan. Bridget Kearney Sherdut. Lydia Rose Silva. Alyssa Marie Stone. Molly Catherine Sullivan. Anna Williams Svensson. John Thomas Svensson. Birch Alden Swart. Andrew James Swift. Natalie Elizabeth Talbot. Matthew Robert Thomas. Kayla Marie Thompson. Joseph Ryan Thornton. Lauren Monique Thorpe Johnson. Maria Christina Trefiro. Sophie Virginia Vickers. Abigail Tamara Wallow. Jessica Lynn Walsh. William Andrew Walsh. Avery Strawn Ward. Sarah Ann West. Isaiah Matthew Westbrooks. Sarah Elizabeth Whalen. Alana Francis White. Christopher Charles White. Emily Rose Whitman. Brooke Morgan Williams. David Harrison Wynn. Taylor Grant Wolfer. James Patrick Woods. Hope Catherine Yonce. Ava Elizabeth Young.
At this time, I call for the class of 2018 to please stand for your last time as a class. In order to signify the end of your high school career, please move your tassel from the right side to the left side. You are now high school graduates. Congratulations, class of 2018.